The rain was coming down in sheets as I pulled into the driveway of our house in Seattle. The house that I, Alaric, had poured my heart and soul into. Not just financially, but with my own two hands. I'm 46, an IT specialist, and I pride myself on being a problem solver. I just never imagined the biggest problem I'd ever face would be waiting for me behind that front door. It'd been working late, troubleshooting a major system failure for one of our biggest clients. Usually I'd call Freya, my wife, to let her know it'd be late, but tonight my phone had died. No big deal, I thought. She'd probably be asleep anyway. She usually was these days. I unlocked the door, the familiar click echoing in the sudden silence. Freya, I called out, my voice a little louder than necessary. No response. The house was dark except for a dim light coming from the kitchen. I walked towards it, the scent of stale coffee hanging in the air. That's when I saw it. A note propped up against the sugar bowl. My heart started to pound in my chest. It was Freya's handwriting, unmistakable. I picked it up, my hands trembling slightly. Alaric, it began, we need to talk. I'll be at the Clipper, please come, the Clipper. It was a bar downtown, a place we used to go when we were dating, but we hadn't been there in years. Why would she be there alone at this hour? A knot formed in my stomach. Something was terribly wrong. I grabbed my keys and headed back out into the rain, the note clutched tightly in my hand. The drive downtown was a blur. The rain made visibility poor and my mind was racing. What could Freya possibly want to talk about? Was she okay? Had something happened? I pulled up to the Clipper, the neon sign buzzing above the entrance. The bar looked deserted, the windows fogged up from the inside. I took a deep breath and went inside. The bar was dimly lit, only a few patrons scattered around the room. I scanned the faces, my heart sinking with each passing second, and then I saw her. Sitting in a booth in the back, a man beside her. A man who was definitely not me. It took me a moment to recognize him. It was Leif, our neighbor. We'd known him for years. He was always friendly, always willing to lend a hand. It even helped him fix his car a few times. Now he was sitting there holding my wife's hand, a look of comfort on his face. I started to walk towards them, my blood boiling. But then I stopped, hidden in the shadows. I needed to hear what they were saying. I needed to understand. I just don't know what to do anymore, Leif, Freya was saying, her voice barely above a whisper. Alaric is always working. He's never here. I feel so alone. I know, Freya, Leif replied, his voice soft and soothing. He doesn't appreciate you. You deserve so much better. But I love him, Freya said, tears welling up in her eyes. I don't want to hurt him. Then leave him, Leif said, his voice firm. You deserve to be happy. And I can make you happy. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My wife, the woman I had loved for 10 years, was having an affair with our neighbor, and she was planning to leave me. The world seemed to tilt on its axis. My head was spinning, my heart pounding in my chest. I felt like I was going to be sick. I turned and stumbled out of the bar, the rain washing over me, but doing nothing to cool the fire that was burning inside me. I got back in my car and drove, not knowing where I was going, not caring. All I knew was that my life had just been shattered into a million pieces. I drove for hours, the rain continuing to fall, the city lights blurring into streaks of color. Finally, I pulled over to the side of the road, unable to drive any further. I sat there, staring out at the darkness, the silence broken only by the sound of the rain. How could she do this to me? How could she betray me like this? I had given her everything. I had loved her with all my heart, and she had thrown it all away for Leif. The thought of them together, of them touching each other, made me want to scream. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white, trying to contain the rage that was building inside me. I knew I couldn't stay there. I couldn't go back to that house, not yet. I needed time to think, time to process what had happened. I needed to figure out what to do. I started the car and drove to a motel on the outskirts of the city. It was a cheap, rundown place, but it was all I could handle at the moment. I checked in, paid for a room, and went inside. The room was small and dingy, the air heavy with the smell of stale cigarette smoke. But I didn't care. I just needed a place to be alone. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, my mind a jumbled mess of thoughts and emotions. I felt numb, empty, like a part of me had died. I stayed in that motel for 2 days, barely eating, barely sleeping. I just sat there thinking, trying to make sense of it all. I replayed every moment of our relationship in my head, searching for clues, for signs that I had missed, but I couldn't find any. Everything had seemed so normal, so happy, or so I thought. Finally, on the third day, I knew I couldn't stay there any longer. I had to do something. I couldn't just let her get away with this. I couldn't just let her destroy my life. I checked out of the motel and drove back to Seattle. But I didn't go home. Instead, I went to see my friend Astrid. Astrid was a lawyer, one of the best in the city. She was also one of the few people I trusted completely. I knew I could count on her to give me honest advice, even if it wasn't what I wanted to hear. I told her everything from the note to the scene at the Clipper. She listened patiently, her expression growing more and more serious as I spoke. When I was finished, she leaned back in her chair and sighed. "I am so sorry, Alaric," she said. "This is terrible." "What do I do, Astrid?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know where to start first," she said. "You need to protect yourself. I'm going to draw up some papers. We need to freeze your assets, make sure she can't take anything that's rightfully yours, and then—" I asked. "Then," she said, "we fight. We fight for what's yours. We fight for your future." I spent the next few weeks working with Astrid, gathering evidence, preparing for the inevitable divorce. It was a painful process, dredging up all the memories, reliving the betrayal over and over again. I also hired a private investigator, a man named Erling, to dig into Leif's background. I wanted to know everything about him, everything he was hiding. It didn't take Erling long to find something. It turned out that Leif had a history of financial problems. He was deep in debt, owing money to some very unsavory people. I knew then what I had to do. I arranged a meeting with Leif at a neutral location. I didn't tell Freya about it. I wanted to handle this myself. Leif arrived looking nervous, his eyes darting around the room. "What do you want, Alaric?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. "I know about your debts, Leif," I said, my voice cold and hard. "I know about the people you owe money to." His face paled. "I don't know what you're talking about," he stammered. "Don't lie to me, Leif," I said. "I have proof. I can go to the police, I can go to the people you owe money to. I can make your life a living hell." He looked at me, his eyes wide with fear. "What do you want?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "I want you to leave Freya," I said. "I want you to disappear from her life. I want you to never contact her again, and if I don't," he asked, "then I'll make sure you regret it," I said, my voice low and menacing. "I'll make sure you lose everything." He didn't say anything for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. He said, "I'll do it." I didn't trust him, not completely. But I knew I had him where I wanted him. I had leverage, and I wasn't afraid to use it. I went back to the house that was no longer a home. Freya was there waiting for me. "Where have you been?" she asked, her voice tight. "I know about you and Leif," I said, my voice flat. "I know everything." Her face crumpled. "Alaric, don't," I said, cutting her off. "I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your excuses. I am done." "What are you going to do?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'm going to divorce you," I said. "And I'm going to make sure you don't get a single penny." She started to cry, but I didn't care. I had no sympathy for her. She had made her choice. And now she had to live with the consequences. The divorce was long and messy, but in the end I got everything I wanted. Freya got nothing. She was left alone with nothing but her regrets. As for Leif, he disappeared. I don't know where he went, and I don't care. All I know is that he's no longer a part of my life. It's been a year since the divorce. I'm still healing, still trying to put my life back together, but I'm stronger now, I am wiser, and I know that I deserve better. I've started dating again, cautiously. I'm not ready for anything serious, but I'm open to the possibility of finding love again. I'll never forget what Freya did to me, but I won't let it define me. I won't let it ruin my life. I'm moving on. I'm building a new future. A future where I am happy, a future where I am loved, a future where I am respected, and that is the best revenge of all. I learned a lot through this ordeal. I learned who my real friends were. I learned that I am stronger than I thought. And I learned that sometimes the best thing you can do is to walk away, to let go of the past and embrace the future. To the reader, remember that loyalty and honesty are the cornerstones of any relationship. If those are missing, no amount of love or effort can save it. Protect yourself, know your worth, and never settle for less than you deserve.